The South Dakota State women, meantime, are just a few hours away from hitting the floor in the NCAA Tournament. And when they take on the Utah Utes, they'll be seeing a former South Dakota Prep Player of the Year. Zach Borg has more live from Spokane.
Cordell, you know, it was Ferris Bueller who once said that life moves pretty fast, and if you don't look around, you might miss it. Well, Reece Ross, the Rapid City native who was a great state champion for St. Thomas More, she probably gets that, especially tonight. 1 year ago, she was a senior in high school watching the NCAA tournament. Tonight, she's going to play in it for the first time against the team from her home state.
It's definitely a lot faster paced and the margin of error is a lot smaller, so being able to take care of the ball and just doing the most with my minutes, I would say, is the biggest adjustment.
Aaron Johnson and SDSU had a pretty good idea Reece Ross could eventually make the adjustment in 2022 when they saw her lead St. Thomas More to a state championship at Frost Arena.
Just has such a high ceiling, I think, because of her athleticism, skill level. Played at a really good high school program and understands what it takes to win. And I think just kind of getting started with what can be a great career.
The Rapid City native instead went to Utah, continuing a Cavalier pipeline west that started several years earlier with Drew Gilton, and says the emphasis that St. Thomas More coaches placed on defense has greatly aided her transition to college basketball.
Something that is hard to learn, being able to come in and actually have an opportunity to already understand how important defense is as a basketball player was definitely something that I appreciate from that program.
As a true freshman, Ross is averaging 4 points in about 12 minutes per game off the bench and has inadvertently given Utah head coach Lynn Roberts and the Utes an idea of what to expect from the Jackrabbit team they'll face from her home state.
Reece is just tough, fearless. You know, she's been roping cows her whole life. Truly, and doesn't back down from anybody, anything, and I love that about her as a competitor, but I know we're going to face a bunch of those guys, so we've got to match their toughness.
And Reece knows that it's okay if all of South Dakota isn't cheering her on tonight, since it's pretty cool to have a date with some old friends in the big dance.
A lot of people reached out and they're excited, not only me as a South Dakota player, but being able to watch their hometown and just no matter the outcome, they're happy for both of us.
Now, I mentioned Drew Gilton in that story. Now, there's also a funny story about her. She played the first 5 years of her career at the University of Utah, and the final one, she transferred back to South Dakota State. We'll get her thoughts on the game coming up a little bit later in sports. Live at the NCAA Tournament with the Jackrabbits, I'm Zach Borg, Dakota News Now.